Hello, fight fans. My name is Michael Hernandez of MLH Media, Sports News on the Roll, and I am here with Carol Siracusa, Cutwoman of the Year from the Cali Fight Awards and California Cutwoman all over. She has been in every single fighting organization you could think of, Uriah Fabers A1 Combat, Combate Alliance. She has been everywhere. So, Carol, just to start it off, how have you been today? We see you're a little bit outside in that sunny California weather, it looks like, or maybe a little cold. You never know with the way the skies are looking. So how's your day been going so far?
It's been going good. It's a nice day out and just trying to enjoy some of the sun before it goes away and start raining again. So I like the outdoors anyway.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been kind of back and forth, I mean, really just rain and then sun, rain, sun. But
Hmm.
you have a pretty busy week ahead of you this week, upcoming week. You have Uriah Faber's February 3rd fights coming up in Lemoore, and then you have the 209 beatdown fights on Saturday. So did you want to go into that and maybe the life of a cut
Sure.
woman? Because I mean, fighters don't really get that sensation of like, dang, I gotta fight and then I gotta fight right after. So is that a little stressful for you?
It can be for other people, but I enjoy it so much. It's my passion. So I don't I don't stress out about it. I just get prepared for it ahead of time and just make sure that I'm fully prepared for anything that can possibly, come about. And making sure that, I take care of all those fighters. Each night, for Friday is going to be A1 Combat at the Tachi Palace. It's the first time they're having their show there. Um, and then Saturday, like you said, was the 209 beatdown in Stockton at the Civic Memorial Auditorium. I've a really great rapport and a great relationship with the fighters. Once I've wrapped their hands, then they want me to wrap their hands again. Or if I've worked with them in the corner, then they always want me to work their corner. I get a lot of different feedback, but really what makes me feel good about what I do is when the fighters tell me that they want me in their corner because they feel safe. They just feel safe that I got their back and that I take care of them. And everybody sees the passion that I have when I'm, working and actually in the cage and taking care of the fighters. It's just I'm just very focused. I'm not stressed. I'm just focused. So I just enjoy what I do.
Yeah, it's almost like you're locked into your own zone, and you don't think of it as a
Yeah.
job. It's more of a passion. So that's absolutely wonderful. And that's even more amazing that those fighters look at you. It's not like a mom, but almost like this like caretaker role of like, okay, I can go to this woman and I know she's gonna take care of me and she's gonna make sure that I'm okay at the end of the night. And that's a big responsibility, especially with the type of shots that they get in the ring and the type of blows that they get in a 5 minute round or in a 3 minute round in some cases. But with you and your father in this upbringing that you had kind of in the boxing world and how you got started training out with your dad, when I met you at the Cali Fight Awards, I was just inspired by your story. I mean, you came into this male dominated industry and it kind of just seemed as like from what you were telling me, you and your dad just in these boxing rings in these gyms, working, perfecting your own craft, and then you kind of going into that cut women industry after some things weren't able to shape up because of some health issues. But I wanted you to go into you and your dad's relationship and how you guys kind of sprouted up in that boxing world, because I
Correct.
mean that's a story in its own right that I feel goes away from your cut woman prowess as well, because they're two separate careers and they both deserve their own respects.
Right, right. Well, my father was a boxer when he was very, very young. And first of all, he's 95 years old, right? Has seen like the real great boxers, Sugar Ray Robinson, Jack Dempsey, and all the names that are most people in this era probably never even heard of, and definitely never seen. So he can actually say that he's seen these fighters fight live when he was young. So that right there is something that is interesting because nobody else that I can talk to can tell me those stories. So I've learned a lot about the history of boxing through my father. And I was raised, always watching boxing throughout, my childhood into my adulthood. So it's something that I, have a love for and a passion for, and I share that with my father. And we're very close. And even till this day, I've always taken him to the gyms with me or to the fights and things like that. And he always gets on the bags and starts hitting the bags. I've hit mitts with him, and he hits the speed bag. So, he slowed down a little bit, but he still does it. And it's something that's very, very inspiring. So I'm actually really, really blessed that he's still here, that I can share everything that I'm doing in my life. Excuse me, it's a little touching, but I'm just glad that I can share what's going on in my life with my father. And that's something that I just, it's like, it makes me feel so good to know that he's proud of me, because he sits back and watches. And he's a quiet man, a man of few words, but for him to be able to see me, on TV, working a fight, or be there live, seeing a fight, it really inspires me to keep going. And so, it's just something that my father and I share, a love for the sport. And he can see my progress from when I started, and first enjoyed watching boxing, and then started training to be a fighter, and then having health issues. I'm a cancer survivor, a heart attack survivor, and a stroke survivor. So I've been through a lot of things in my life, but I'm just the kind of person that I will not quit, and I refuse to give up. If I want something, I'm determined to get it, and nothing's going to stop me. It's just one of those things that I just, I look at my dad at his age, and it's like, wow, I have good genes. So hopefully I'll be able to do a lot more in my life, in the sport. So, being a survivor of all those things, it has really, kind of even brought my father and I closer together, just appreciating life, and our love for each other, and the sport. So he never expected things to go as far as they have with me. He's told me that, like, wow, he never thought that I would be at the level that I'm at, working professional fights, boxing and MMA. So that's something that he's very, like, wow. Because even I'll admit, even a few times in the years past, he's seen what I've been through, as far as, all the sacrifices that I've made, trying to get into these gyms, trying to earn the respect from the fighters and the coaches, being a woman, of course. And it hasn't been easy, but with the attitude that I have, it's like, well, I don't care if it's easy or it's not easy. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to earn their respect. And that's what I did. And it took time, and at times it could be frustrating. And that's when my dad would say, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And I was like, "Yes, this is what I want to do. I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep on going." I said, "I promise you, Dad, you're going to see me on TV one day." And sure enough, that's what he's doing. He's seeing me on TV, and he's, just proud of me. So it means a lot to me that he's
Yeah.
here sharing that with me.
No, and that's exactly, I was kind of, you cover both bases of that question. That was going to be the second leg of that question was, because you did have those health complications and you weren't able to go into the fighting career that you wanted boxing wise, but you were able to help train other fighters, and you were kind of like how your dad does now. And so I just, that connection, I'm pretty sure, has helped you guys both develop a stronger relationship and a stronger love for each other, because you guys are just both, you guys are both enamored in the same worlds, and that definitely creates a bond that is really, really hard to break, no matter how
Oh,
much
it's unbreakable. Yeah.
no
No
matter how
doubt.
much your dad upsets you, or no matter how much you upset your dad as a daughter, just, it's, you guys have that love forever, and that's amazing. And for I'm pretty sure a lot of parents wish they had that with their own children. But for fans that may not be familiar with your work as a cut woman, because like how you said, you've been on those big stages, you've been on Bellator, you've been on Combate Alliance, you've been in what's coming up as a really prominent and a really prominent pro organization in Uriah Fabers A1 Combat. I mean, they just won pro California organization the year at California Fight Awards. You're in these
Right.
organizations, you're involved in these things. So what would you say, you know, as you've had to witness these cuts, these crazy events. I mean, but the one that I particularly remember and seeing all over everywhere was you having to help out Blake Perry. Now, would you say that
Mm-hmm.
that fight was your most intense moment because of the injury? Because I mean, his nose was literally on the other side of his face, and that's probably one of the most gruesome injuries I've ever seen in an MMA fight ever. So you've seen a ton. You've had a ton of experience. So what would you say is the most
Mm-hmm.
gruesome, the most, oh my gosh, like I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this corner after this injury, or person you've had to kind of help out?
Mm-hmm. Well, I when I was to the nose and then obviously broke his nose, um, I didn't notice, because where I was sitting, it was hard to kind of see. I just saw blood, and so when I ran into the cage, when I kind of approached him, that's when I realized, damn, his nose is pretty messed up. And you know, I I just kind of like just deal with what I got to deal with. It's my job. So I just knew right away that this fight's over. And you can kind of see in the video just very slightly. I just kind of just nodded my head no, like like it's done. He's done. Um, but there was a little, I don't want to say controversy, but they kind of made it seem like or sound like he was going to continue to fight. He really wanted to continue to fight. He couldn't even breathe out of his nose. So it was just one of those things that I knew he wasn't going to continue to fight, and so did the team. And there was nothing more I can do at that point. That's why there's doctors at the fights. You have ring physicians. There was a few, people that might have made comments like, "Oh, you could have reset his nose" and things like that. Well, I'm not a doctor. That's what the doctors are here for, and I'm not going to be responsible if I try to reset the nose and then he has further damage. So, that's just not something that I'd say most of the cutmen that I know would not even consider doing that. My job was just to try to stop the bleeding in his nose, which I did. And other than that, it's just he has to see a doctor. And the next day, I believe, or maybe it was later that night, he went to a doctor and they finally reset it. And it was super excruciating pain. I felt really bad for him. But that definitely, I can say with all the cuts and broken noses and such, that was the worst one that I've, you know, uh, witnessed and worked on. So it went viral. It went viral.
Yeah.
It's actually considered the worst broken nose in MMA history. And there's Mike Perry, which he's a MMA fighter, I think for UFC. And he also had a broken nose similar to that. But I would say that Blake Perry's nose was probably slightly worse. So it was something that, not a lot of people were expecting to see. And I'd say that was the worst injury that I've come across. But I don't, stress or get nervous or anything like that. I just, deal with whatever has to be taken care of. Whatever I can do within my ability, then that's what I do.
Yeah.
I always have to stay focused and um, making sure that I'm not, you distracted or show any, how should I say it? Just show any emotion, basically. I don't want to, let the fighter feel like they're worse off than they really think they are. I have to be very neutral and just let them know that you're going to be all right. So that was pretty much it as far as that goes. But yeah, I went viral. It was like, I think UFC posted it, and it was like got like 30 million views or something. And I mean, it was posted on everything, New York Post, TMZ. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's just crazy how just
Yeah.
like blink of an eye, something can go viral like that.
No, and you were you
And
were the person in the corner having to hold that down was the craziest part of all that for me is I'm like, I watched that video, had no idea it was you, go to the Cali Fight Awards, meet you, and then you tell me about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is the lady that had to deal with that crazy broken nose that I had to watch on Instagram the other day. So it's just crazy how small
right.
of a world it is. And that you were the
Yeah,
one that had to deal with that in that corner. And all the kudos to you,
that's
obviously,
right. Oh, thank you.
for having to deal with even the criticism, but some people saying like, oh, why don't you
There
reset a
was a lot.
nose? But I mean, that's fight fans for you. You know, some people just don't know the rules and don't know exactly what's going on in the ring. And that's why
Sure.
we have people like you that are super educated in your field and know exactly what they're doing. Because hey, had you did try and reset that nose and he goes out there, who knows what would have happened? And that's definitely not a good thing for either the fighter or the organization, nobody
Yeah.
involved, right? And so
Yep.
for you, you know, you've obviously had a story history as a cut woman, you know, and in these events in California, there's a ton coming up. I mean, they have a ton of Bellator events coming up here in the coming future. And I mean, UFC is obviously hoping to make their return to California in the next coming, probably in the next coming year. So is there any event for you where you feel like I want to be there? Carol the Cut Woman has to be at this event. Um, and is there any send off for you? Maybe is it for you? Would it be this last thing like, oh yeah, I have to do this before I'm done?
Um, yeah, I guess so. I think there's a couple things, you know. I think that one of the goals or dreams, but you know, anything is possible, but you never know. But just, you know, working with more, if I could work any dream fight, I'd like to work a fight like in um Crawford and Spence, you know, and work one of those corners. But you know, the truth of the matter is that they, you know, a lot of those fighters have their own cut men already, and it's just not one of those things that you just try to move in on somebody's fighter and things like that. So that's not ethical. But you know, if I can just have some real big fighters before I'm done, that would be really awesome because I that's something that I want to do for my father to witness, you know. And that may never happen, but it's just one of those things that, you know, I just never give up. I'm just gonna keep chugging along, and whatever happens and comes my way, then so be it. You know, I'm just enjoying the ride, and it's been a long, hard journey. Um, but you know, I don't care if things are hard. It just makes me work harder to you know, get past it and achieve the things that I want to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, and that's I kind of wanted to point that out to you because you know I feel like for you and your industry, it's a little bit different for like, oh, you don't get to really pick out like, oh yeah, I want to do this fighter, like how you were saying. But you know, obviously we all have goals and we all have these aspirations of, you know, so I know and talking to you at the event, I know you want to hit those big lights and I know you want to be in those big stages. And so that was just kind of really what I wanted to go
Mm-hmm.
into and just show, you know, and you never know what opportunity may arise itself. You never know if somebody may need a corner, a cut woman in their corner. Your story is sensational. But I just wanted to go into to finish off. You touched on earlier that you're a survivor of three traumatic events. I mean, you know, breast cancer survivor, heart attack survivor, and stroke survivor.
It wasn't breast cancer, but it was
Oh,
cancer. But that's
it
okay.
was
I just wanted
cancer.
to say
I'm so
that.
sorry. No,
No worries.
no, no.
Yeah.
My
No, no,
my
no. It's okay. That's okay.
so you cancer survivor, stroke survivor, heart attack survivor. How do you how do you push through this every single day? I mean, these are events that any normal person, one of these that takes them out. I mean, you know, it's
Oh
a
yeah.
very mentally draining disease on someone. It's very mentally draining for everybody around them. So how would you say what has been your mental going through all this in your life, and what has been one words of advice that you would like to give people?
Well, you're right though. You know, as far as everything, like all the things that I've been through, basically the average person probably wouldn't have gotten through it. Um, it's like things that were meant to kill me were basically what made me stronger because I'm not going to let something take me out if I could. And I'm talking just like my frame of mind or my mental state is that I have too many things and too much to live for. I have too many things that I want to accomplish that I just got to get past this and just keep on moving. I never give up and realize that life is short, and it just made me appreciate a lot of the little things that we tend to overlook or forget. And so it's made my frame of mind very strong, and my will to and determination to continue to keep moving forward and get past it, no matter how difficult it may be. And you know I just tell people that whatever, anything is possible, and never give up. You got to always believe that you can continue to move forward. And once you do that, it's such a wonderful feeling to know that you've been able to overcome things. When you overcome adversities, that's what makes people stronger. And not just give in and stop, and that's just not my way.
Yeah, no, and that's really why I wanted to have you on today, and I really do appreciate you setting out this time for me, because your story is just, it's inspiring, and I hope more people that watch this interview, even if they are in a state in their lives where they're not maybe in the best of state, they can see, okay, this woman survived this many things, and she is in a state in her life where she is thriving and she is happy. I mean, look at you now. Like, you look like you are having the time of your life at these fight events, and you always have a smile on your face, so that's really why I wanted to put you out here on this platform and give you that chance to speak your story and
I
kind of give
appreciate.
fight fans more of an in-depth look, because I mean, they always think about the fighters, the promoters, but somebody that may get overlooked are those people that go in those corners and help patch up those nasty eyes or those bloody noses. So if you guys wanted to go ahead and give a follow to Carol Siracusa on any of her social medias, it was going to be Carol the Cutwoman, correct?
Me on.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yes.
It was gonna, sorry, I just want to double
Yeah.
check. It was gonna be Carol the Cutwoman on Instagram. You guys go ahead and give her a follow. She's always posting all of her fight highlights, anytime that she has some crazy things going down. And then make sure to purchase tickets to any of the events that she's cornering. Anytime that she's at an event, I guarantee you that the fights there are going to be good fights. Carol does not like to watch boring fights, so she is going to be at good events. Trust me on that.
That's right.
So go
Yes.
ahead and head to, if you're in the Stockton area, if you're looking for an event to go to on Saturday, go ahead 209 Beatdown. And if you were looking for further details on that, and then the Tachi Palace was going to be hosting their fights as well on Friday, February 3rd. So it's going to be a packed weekend of MMA action here in California. And Carol's going to be the lady that is the one patching things up and making sure everybody is good to
That's
go.
right.
So Carol, I really appreciate your time here today. Any last words you wanted
For
to
sure.
say?
Thank you very much.
I really
Um, First of all, thank you for having me again, and for the people that come to the fights, and they're very humble, and they come up to me, and I want to take a picture. It makes I just want to say thank you for my supporters, for and it's just kind of like when they reach out to me, it just makes me feel like I'm doing a good job, and hopefully inspiring other people. So just want to thank all my supporters.
You're most definitely doing that, Carol, and I hope we get to catch up again very soon. That's Carol Siracusa, Cutwoman of the Year from Cali Fight Awards. Michael Hernandez of MLH Media, and I'm signing out.